Life Settlements for Chuck Lewis. LewisForLifeSettlements.com. Life Settlements. If you're 70 or older and have a life insurance policy over $250,000 that's no longer necessary, you may be a candidate for a life settlement. A life settlement is where you would sell your insurance policy to a third party for cash today. These policies are usually purchased or funded by large hedge funds like Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, GE, Goldman Sachs, and others. These funds have paid out over $10 billion in funding over the last few years. What are some of the reasons people are selling their life insurance? Well, maybe you no longer wish to pay for the premiums on these policies, or you no longer need the death benefit. Maybe you could sell your life insurance and raise a substantial amount of money. Or your intended beneficiary has changed. You need to pay for expensive health care or long-term care. Or you want to eliminate premiums and purchase a smaller policy. Or you want to salvage a lapsing policy. Or maybe you just want financial security today. How do you qualify for these plans? Well, in general, if you're a male over 70 or a female over 75 and you have a policy over $250,000, the policy must be in force for at least 2 years. The annual premiums or cost of these policies must be less than 10% of the face value of the policy, and the surrender value of the policy should be less than 40% of the death benefit. Now, what happens should you decide to sell this policy? First of all, no money changes hands until a funding company bids on that policy and the client agrees on the figure. Second, in most states, once the policy is sold, the client has 3 days to change their mind. So, what happens behind the scenes? Well, first, the agent will get an intake form, which is going to list all the policy information, all of the medical history, all of your doctors, and the client's going to authorize the agent to get a list of all the medical records from the doctor and the policy information from the insurance company. Now, simultaneously, the agent is going to send that information to the funders, where they're going to do a rigorous review of the policy to determine if the combination of the premiums due, the cash value, and the death benefit all fall within the parameters of what they're looking for. Second, they're going to send all your medical records to a life expectancy company that's going to do a third-party assessment of that person's life expectancy. Now, if everything comes together, they'll make a bid on that policy. Now, of course, there is a cost to all of this. However, what's the cost to the client? Nothing. There is no cost to the client. Now, if approved, the client is presented with an offer. An agreement is then made. Then money goes into an escrow account until the policy is transferred. Once the policy changes hands, at that time, the money is released. It really is a win-win-win situation. The client earns more than they otherwise would if the policy were to be surrendered or lapse. The funders get a policy that they would likely give the fund a positive return on their investment, and the insurance carrier continues to get the premium for a policy that would otherwise cancel. That's a win-win-win. That's Life Settlements for Chuck Lewis. LewisForLifeSettlements.com.